All right. Well, I understand that there's been some, not shakeups, but there's been some promotions in AEW. Apparently, a press release went out. Tony realizes he needs some help. There's been complaints about the talent relations departments, such as they're not relating with the talent. And so he's put some people in charge to alleviate this problem. Brian, is that what I'm hearing?
That is what you're hearing, what we're hearing, what the world has heard, because like you said, AEW put out a press release making these statements. And
I don't know if the whole world hears it every time AEW puts out a press release. That's why I thought we'd give them some bigger coverage on our show.
Well, the wrestling world may have heard some of this, but let me go to the press release here, Jim. August 3rd, 2022, AEW CEO, GM, and head of creative, Tony Khan, announced an expansion to AEW's talent relations team with the promotions of key staff members, including Sanjay Dutt, QT Marshall, or Marshall, as he used to be.
That's Marshall to you.
Pat Buck, and Tony Schiavone. In addition, Madison Rayne will join AEW as a coach in the women's division. As AEW continues its meteoric rise, the expanded talent relations team will strengthen the infrastructure required to facilitate the development, health, and safety of AEW's outstanding roster.
Wait a minute, health and safety, what are they going to do? Not let them in the ring? It's the only way you could safeguard most of these fucking nitwits' health and safety.
Maybe not let them drive in some cases. The following promotions and additions are effective immediately. Sanjay Dutt, a.k.a. Ratish Balia, or Bala, I guess would be.
I have known Sanjay Dutt on and off for almost 20 years. I never knew that wasn't his real name.
Well, he has been promoted to Vice President of Production and Creative Coordination. In this role, he will coordinate communication of AEW storylines, liaise between post-production and key staff to maintain content workflow, produce ancillary content, and mentor new producers. Dutt joined AEW in 2021, bringing more than 20 years of experience in professional wrestling, both in-ring and as a producer, and continues to serve on-screen as manager to Satnam Singh and Jay Lethal.
And what is he going to do again? Somebody used a lot of good words there.
He will be the Vice President of Production and Creative Coordination.
And that is, again, he's going to coordinate the creative from what to where?
Well, it says he will coordinate communication of AEW storylines, liaise between post-production and key staff to maintain content workflow, and he will produce ancillary content and mentor new producers.
Oh, boy. So he's going to be coordinating creative plans. It didn't say he's going to be coming up with any. So it sounds like it's going to be somebody else carrying out the wishes of Uncle Tony, the boss, right?
I don't think he deserves a Unca designation right now. That's
a Cousin Tony.
Bit of a slight, but let's go
Cousin Tony, because he's not old enough to be an Unca yet. Let's go to the next one.
QT Marshall, a.k.a. Michael Quillari, has been promoted to Vice President of Show and Creative Coordination. He will help to manage show elements, including planning programs and storylines, character development, overseeing extras, and live event logistics coordination. Marshall, an AEW original with more than 20 years of experience, will continue to wrestle as the leader of The Factory.
20 years? Wait a minute. I guess it was 12 years ago we found QT Delirious and I in Florida and asked him to come up. And I didn't know he'd been wrestling for 10 years before that almost. Go ahead.
Well, you'll be happy to know he will continue to wrestle as the leader of The Factory with Anthony Ogogo, Nick Camarado, Aaron Solo, and Cole Carter. Did he join The Factory too?
Wait a minute. Now that doesn't make any sense. Solo, Camarado, Ogogo, Carter. Blown his gimmick. So we got Sanjay and Ken. Let me say this. Sanjay, I've known, as I said, for almost 20 years. He's had a lot of experience. He was a good wrestler. And Jeff Jarrett used him quite extensively in an office position, Global Force and or TNA/TNA, that for that stint there. He's done work with Impact. He's been involved in a number of offices. I'm not knocking Sanjay. QT, I like QT. I haven't seen him in 10 years, but he outed himself as being the guy that was really pleased and just pleased as punch that he was able to be allowed to time the show for Tony Khan back a number of months ago. Who else is on this promotion roster?
Well, here's another one, and I think this is actually probably a pretty good move here. Pat Buck, a.k.a. Pat Buckridge, has been promoted to Vice President of Talent Development. In this position, he will liaise with talent and production, oversee all coaches, provide input on matches and promos, and lead the talent relations team. Buck brings nearly 2 decades of experience serving wrestling promotions as a talent, trainer, producer, and promoter. And of course, Pat Buck, I believe, is one of the partners in Create a Pro, which is a school that launched MJF, Max Caster,
right,
Chris Statlander, and various others.
And actually, Pat Buck was a trainee at OVW back shortly after I left. I think 2006-ish, 7-ish, 8-ish, whatever. And at that point, I had a conversation with him at, gosh, how long ago? It was years ago, but somewhere I saw him. And he took what he saw and learned in OVW and opened Create a Pro, patterned after the OVW program, the building, the philosophy, etc. And so it seems like he's serious about what he's doing. And he's
WWE producer too, right?
I was about to say he was producer for the WWE for the past several years until the pandemic or whatever. Now he's there. This can only be a positive. The question is, are any of the people that need the trainees in AEW, the young guys, the people doing jobs on Dark and YouTube and whatever, yes, they need training, but the ones that really need to listen to an experienced guy like Pat Buck are the top guys, the full-time roster guys, the guys that are on TV every week. And the question becomes, will they listen to Pat Buck when they think they're already doing good because they're on television? They've been rewarded for subpar performance with being put on in spots on television. So are they going to actually learn anything at that point, or are they going to think that they're already just swell? So we'll see about that.
Yeah, and again, it depends on the talent. Are the young bucks going to listen to Pat Buck? No. Is a new talent who just got signed to AEW going to listen to him? Probably.
Yeah, but the problem is the top talent needs to be the one listening because they're the ones stinking the fucking show up. The poor job guys are just doing what they're told.
Well, some of those people are a lost cause, but here's another name on this list. Tony Schiavone has been promoted to senior producer and special advisor to talent. In this capacity, he will work directly with talent as part of the talent relations team. Schiavone is one of AEW's most tenured members and has nearly 40 years of experience with an iconic voice that has guided fans through professional wrestling's most incredible moments.
Actually, being fair, he has 20 years of experience with a 20-year gap in the middle. Just to be fair. Because he was not affiliated with wrestling in any way from 2001 till 2018. So, or was it 17? Well, give or take. Anybody else?
Special advisor to talent. I've never heard of that position before.
Well, because he's going to specially advise them on the things that he advises on, especially for them. All this says nothing.
It says nothing. But we have a couple more names here. Madison Rayne, a.k.a. Ashley Nicole Lomberger, will join AEW as a coach in the women's division and kick off her new role tonight in her hometown of Columbus, Ohio. Madison has competed in numerous professional wrestling promotions where she has held multiple championship titles, including 5-time women's world champion. She has more than 15 years of experience in professional wrestling and is also a proud mom to a daughter.
Okay, that
didn't mention anyone else's
like
kids.
A screen door on a submarine. Yeah, what the that?
Schiavone has like 30 kids.
She's able to procreate. That means she's a good wrestling trainer. I'm not knocking Madison Rayne. Worked with her in TNA years ago. She's better than a lot of the girls on the program. We can't say she's not. Is she Mildred Burke? We can't say she is. I don't know. You know, a coach.
What do you see the coach's role as being?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not saying you have to be a superstar wrestler level of a Stone Cold Steve Austin to be able to be a trainer or a coach, because a lot of times, even in other professional sports, the best coach was not necessarily the best player. And I've said this before, Dr. Tom Pritchard is a better wrestling trainer than Ric Flair or Roddy Piper ever would have been, because it's a different skill set. And so just because someone's been a great wrestler doesn't mean or not mean they're going to be a great trainer or teacher. But I mean, you know, she's better than some, and I wouldn't say that I ever looked at Madison Rayne with the same, you know, assertion of talent or ability that I would look at Charlotte or Becky or a Sherry Martel or etc.
But for this role, do you just need someone who can get along with everyone, or do you need someone who can have an expertise like a Sherry Martel?
Well, it's good that Sherry got along with everybody, but
I wasn't saying she didn't.
I know, but I'm just saying it's good if you can get along with everybody, but if you can teach them something, it's even better. And I would say that with the AEW women's roster, Madison Rayne could probably teach them a few things. But the problem is that the entire list of...
one more here.
One more.
Christopher Daniels, an AEW original who brings more than 30 years of industry experience, will continue to serve as manager of talent relations. The talent relations team will also remain in close contact with AEW's legal and talent resources team, led by Margaret Stalvey, Chris Peck, and Mega Parekh, who help to support the physical and mental health, safety, and security of talent.
Well, then they ought to be the ones that are hiring security for the parking lot, because that's where everybody gets mugged and their security and safety is in question, right?
AEW is also committed to supporting talent beyond the ring and offers access to world-class physicians, trainers, and mental health clinicians.
Boy, the line is just begging to be there in some fashion about the guy issuing this statement needs the most mental health care. Christopher Daniels, 30 years experience in the business. What an intelligent guy, a talented guy. But if you've got him, it will continue to be the head of talent relations. So that means that he's the one that's got to field the phone calls from all the talent going, why ain't Tony telling me what the fuck's going on? And then he's got to go to Tony and say, why ain't you telling this guy what the fuck's going on? And then Tony will tell him what's going on. He's got to go back to that guy and say, here's what the fuck's going on.
You know, and again, this started because Tony Khan, who on his best day is probably as busy as can be. I mean, he has a lot going on in his life. There have been stories, and we were probably, if we weren't the first, we had to be close to it. But we were talking a long time ago about structure issues in the back, guys having issues because they felt there was no one to talk to or there was no communication. Then we started seeing stories come out with the releases, various people. And again, despite who they are, when Marco Stunt or Jelly Nutella says, yeah, all of a sudden we just never heard again from the company, that's not a good sign. Tony's been hearing it. There are a lot of internal things that need to be done better. There needs to be some structure. This is clearly an attempt to do that.
But this is not going to help the problem. And it's not going to do anything to address the real issue. And it's not going to improve the product. Because nothing was said about somebody either taking over, helping out with, or in any way trying to mentor Tony Khan on creative. This is all about hiring more people for Tony Khan to tell what's going to happen and for them to tell other people. It's not solving the real problem why the show continues to further suck every week. When he had shit going, when he had the right people to listen to, and now those people are either gone, injured, or excommunicated. But nobody is helping with creative. They're helping disseminate the creative plans, but nobody is actually being appointed to creative to see that those creative plans don't suck pond water. So that's the problem. You can add all these people you want to talk to everybody, but until Tony Khan understands that he not only does still not know what he's doing, but he doesn't know who to listen to get ideas to figure it out, this shit's still going to be crappy booking with no continuity, illogic everywhere, of a schizophrenic television program where everybody gets a segment to do whatever they want, regardless of whether it fits the program as a whole. And the main money-drawing aspect of the company, besides the fact that they've lucked into an audience that's going to support whatever they do, regardless of how it sucks, but they can't increase that audience because they've found all the people that fit that description. And so unless that somebody can break through to Tony's clouded mind and say, look, you're a mark and you book for marks because you book like a mark. But there ain't a lot of goddamn marks anymore. There might be some fans if we could kind of get them interested, but your bullshit indie-rific comedy booking is not going to do that. So let's put somebody in charge of this and somebody to assist them and put you on the creative team, Tony, because you're the boss, so you can be on it. So maybe working with these people on a regular basis, you might learn something. Be the promoter. Spend the money. Make the deals. Get the contacts. You've done a great job with that so far. I've never seen worse booking since the initial run of the guy that just wrote those Shotgun Saturday Night ideas. That is exactly what you need help with, Tony. So all these promotions of all these people to continue to tell other people what you want them to do is not going to solve the problem. The problem is your booking stinks, and it only appeals to people that like the goddamn trampoline cowboys that you've brought into this fold, and they'll eat anything. They have no standards. Most people, all of those millions and millions that you're not getting to watch your program, they want the shit to make sense, and they want people to look the part. That's where you're coming up short. And you're not experienced enough to be able to keep all these wild personalities in check. So they're all going to fucking, as they already are, start disseminating into their little cliques and jousting with the other groups. And they're going to start hijacking your show for their benefit, like they already have. And you can't do anything to control them, Tony, because not only do you not know what they're doing and you don't know how they're doing it, and you don't know how this shit's supposed to fucking work to begin with, but you have no balls. And you won't tell anybody, hey, dipshit, you work for me. Here's what you're doing. You don't want to do it? Fine. I don't care. Let me help you carry your bag to the car, and I'll find somebody in the parking lot that will do it. But you can't do that, Tony. Because the spirit is willing, but the willy is weak. So you have control of nothing. You've given a bunch of fucking jack-off indie guys that honestly don't appreciate it, probably more money than they've ever made in their lives. And you're creating a bunch of frustrated fucking talents, main event stars who actually know how to do this shit and could get over if you knew how to let them. And they want to make money. And they're sick and tired of all this goddamn recess type behavior at the elementary school and all the fucking friends that get jobs for no reason and all the people that are pushed because the boss likes them or wants to dress up like them for Halloween. You're creating ill will in the hearts and minds of your serious talent that want to make money and want to draw and want to get over and want to kick Vince McMahon's ass. They don't want to play with the fucking pudding gang and wander around with a fucking cowboy that's wearing his wife's fucking pants to work. So I don't think much of these promotions.